Oh, seriously? Hey guys, welcome to this tactics video with me, 6+ Stevo. Today we're going to be talking about Grots. Before we go over any of their tactics though, let's have a look at their stats. The Grots, or Gretchin to some people, are a troop's choice. They cost 3 points each, and their stats are as follows. They have movement 5 inches, weapon skill 5+, ballistic skill 4+, strength 2, toughness 2, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 4, with a 6+ save. The unit contains 10 Grots, but you can go up to 20, 30 even. They come with the Grot blaster, which has a 12-inch range. It's a type pistol, strength 3, AP nothing, damage 1. And they also come with the special rule, surprisingly dangerous in large numbers, where a unit of Gretchin, if it includes 20 or more models, you can add 1 to their hit rolls. So straight off the bat, statistics wise, they're not bringing a lot. Yeah, they've got an improved ballistic skill over your average orc. Hitting on 4s in an orc army is quite nice. However, once they do hit, they're only hitting with a strength 3 weapon that's one shot, 12-inch range. It's not going to achieve a great deal. They have, since the last codex, gained a 6+ save as well, which does help them out a little bit. But combat really isn't the use for these guys. That's not where they're going to earn their points back. Where they're going to earn their points, where they're going to win you games, is used in different ways. You can use them as bullet shields to protect some of your more valuable units. You can line them up in front of your boys and just use them as a living meat shield. That's quite a popular use for them. You can use them as a distraction unit. Every time your opponent is shooting at them, he's not shooting at the rest of your more valuable stuff. And who cares about losing a 30-point Grot unit? It's nice to have some expendable units on the field, especially when you're playing objective missions. Now, how I use them mostly is to secure rear field objectives. You know, I've got my boys on the field, I've got my knobs, I've got my death dreads and everything. I do not want those units sitting back, staying out of the battle, not doing what they do most effective, killing stuff, getting in there, stomping things. That's what I want my orcs doing. That's what I want my death dreads doing. My Grots, though, there's the ideal unit to sit back on that rear objective and just sit there all game if need be. Doing that myself in the past, I can tell you off the bat, not exaggerating, a squad of 10 Grots has literally won me games by doing just that, sitting on a rear objective. You know, for whatever reasons the enemy just haven't been able to get at them, and they've been sitting there just clocking in the victory points, you know, every round, depending on what type of mission you're playing. Yeah, fantastic. And for a 30-point unit, that's a great use for them. What you do have to bear in mind with Grots, though, is if you're going to want them to have any kind of staying power, you're going to need a runtherd. So let's just quickly go over the runtherd statistics here. Runtherd is 26 points, no matter what you equip him with. He's got movement 5, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 5+, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, which is pretty impressive actually, 3 attacks, again not bad, a leadership of 7 and a 6+ save. And he comes equipped with a slugger, a grabber stick and stick bombs. I won't go over the statistics of the slugger or the stick bombs. Every orc player knows them already. But the grabber stick is a melee weapon, strength +1, that's quite nice, damage 1. Each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So he's coming in with 4 attacks with a grabber stick, which not to be sniffed at, for 26 points. You can change that free of charge for a Grot pod. Another melee weapon, strength +2, AP -1, damage 1. This is probably the weapon to go for though. You're losing the extra attack, but you're gaining +2 strength as opposed to +1. And you're also getting an AP of -1, which can make a big difference. So it can make him quite a surprising threat actually to any players that underestimate them. You've also got the choice of having either a Grot Lash or a Squig Hound. Personally, I would always go with the Squig Hound for reasons we'll get into in a minute. But the Grot Lash is any runtherd equipped with a Grot Lash. You can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for the Grots in the fight phase within 3 inches of him. So yeah, that's pretty good. Combined with their special rules, surprisingly dangerous in large numbers. If you had a large unit of 30 Grots, and they are now hitting on a 4+ as opposed to a 5+, and they're re-rolling 1s, could make them fairly effective. But then again, you're still only going to be wounding most things on a 6. So again, I wouldn't really recommend taking the Grot Lash. If you've got some points to spend and you want to have a few runtherds in backing them up, then maybe one with a Grot Lash just to improve their combat capabilities. But again, I wouldn't advise kitting your Grots out for combat. What I would go with, and what I do go with, is the Squig Hound. The Squig Hound is brilliant and makes all the difference to the Grots. If a unit comprised entirely of Gretchin fails a morale test and is within 3 inches of any friendly runtherd with a Squig Hound, ignore the result. D3 models from the unit are slain instead. This is incredible for the Grots. They've got a leadership of 4 Grots, so you only have to lose 1 Grot, and you're probably going to lose more in the morale phase. If you lose a handful of Grots, you're going to lose a lot, probably the entire squad through morale. They are incredibly cowardly. They will run at the first sign of trouble. So having a runtherd behind them with a Squig Hound, you're only losing D3. So potentially just 1 Grot from a failed morale test is brilliant. It's just fantastic. My favourite way to use these guys is as a tar pit. You've got those units on the enemy side, say like dreadnoughts or a dreadnought equivalent. Now, if you've got a big unit of Grots backed up by the runtherd with the Squig Hound, you get them in combat with that dreadnought. That dreadnought is going to be in combat for a long time because it only has so many attacks. It can only kill so many Grots per turn. And each time the morale phase comes around, you're only losing an extra 1 to 3. It can be so frustrating for the opponent. And it's quite funny, actually. I've, in games against a friend of mine, using his Redemptor Dreadnought, I did just that to him. And that Redemptor Dreadnought was basically spent 3 to 4 turns fighting Grots. Needless to say, that Dreadnought did not earn its points back in that game. It's a fantastic way to use them. Just pick out one of those nasty big monster type units that you do not want to tangle with. Get your Grots in there. Send them in as a sacrificial unit just to tie it up and keep it pinned in place. Maybe you can kill off some other units and then deal with that later. Because, put it this way, the Grots are not going to kill it. They'll be lucky to shave a wound or 2 off it. If they do, it's a bonus. But like I said, they're not there for combat. They're there to distract things, tie things up. But yeah, Grots, not to be underestimated. As long as you're not expecting them to kill stuff, they do have their uses. Bullet shields, they fill out your troop slots, they get your command points, they're dirt cheap, they're great for sitting on objectives, but the best use, in my opinion, for them is in a large mob. Use them as a tar pit unit, tie things up, keep them pinned in place. But what do you guys think? Do you use Grots? Do you think they've got got a use, a value in the game, in your army, or would you rather just use boys? In another video I did recently, I talked about how the runtherds are a bit expensive, because by the time you've got 30 grots and a runtherd, you know what you're looking at there, 56 points for 10 grots and a runtherd. A unit of 10 boys is only 60 points. So for plus 4 points, you could have the boys, which arguably have a lot more use. But I think if you're only going to go for the small squads of grots, then probably maybe leave the runtherds aside and just have them to nip out and grab objectives, be a distraction unit, a meat shield. But if you do want to use those large mobs, you've got to back them up with the runtherd or a squig hound, because otherwise they're just going to take a few deaths from shooting or whatever, and then the rest of them are going to leg it, and they're going to be no use to you whatsoever. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If there's anything I haven't mentioned or any tactics that you use them for, then please let me know in the comments. As always, get discussions going down there. Thanks guys for watching, really appreciate it. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my other content. Thanks very much. This is 6+ Stevo signing out.